there's yet another aspect to consider. She was not only expecting a child, but possibly expecting one with a young dancer. Vanessa Bryant is facing backlash in this video for doing what every widow is eventually anticipated to do: move forward. It all began with some leaked clips of her pregnancy, and there's a lot more to uncover. We've revealed the identity of her new partner, and you definitely won't guess who he is. Let's explore. The internet spiraled into frenzy, and Vanessa Bryant's current situation started, as often happens, with a murmur, an obscure paparazzi image, a tweet from an anonymous gossip account, and a catchy headline that grabbed attention but avoided responsibility. Reports suggested that Vanessa Bryant was expecting a child with a young basketball player. Joe Budden articulated those precise words during a now-famous segment analyzing the ensuing turmoil. In another context, it was mentioned that not only was she pregnant, but possibly with a young basketball star. That was the phrase found in the young player. I'm guessing they referred to a basketball athlete. She instantly reacted with shock, disbelief, and a certain unease. Because regardless of whether the gossip was accurate, it didn't change a thing. People were furious, angry that she could be expecting, angry that she might be falling in love, angry that her whole existence wasn't stuck in 2020. Why? Because of Kobe. Some individuals believe that widows should remain stuck in the past. Pay close attention to what follows, as it reveals the struggle Vanessa has faced since she lost her husband and daughter in that tragic helicopter accident. Here's Kobe. But what's wrong? I prefer not to see you. I can't bear to watch her move forward. I can't bear to see Laura London find a new path. I don't want to see you either. I'm leaving. This wasn't merely one person's viewpoint. A segment of Kobe's fans harbored the illusion that Vanessa should stay perpetually unchanged. When she evolved, they resorted to name-calling. It was widespread. A significant part of the online community echoed similar sentiments, hurling insults at her. However, Vanessa Bryant isn't alone in facing this kind of scrutiny. Time and again, we've witnessed the backlash when a widow decides to move forward with her life, even long after her spouse has passed. The reaction is as if she's committed a grave offense. This is true for Lauren London and countless women in everyday, non-celebrity circles. Society expects them to remain silent, to uphold loyalty to memories, and to don mourning attire indefinitely. And if they dare to break free from these chains, they face harsh judgment. It's important to highlight that Vanessa did indeed reply. Amid the swirling rumors, she took to Instagram, sharing, "I'm having a great summer, and I'm not expecting." Essentially, she dismissed the surrounding speculation. That should have sufficed, but it didn't, because what this revealed was deeper than mere gossip. It unveiled the unsettling, possessive sense of ownership that fans often project onto celebrities, particularly women linked to famous personalities. Let's be honest. If Kobe were alive and Vanessa had passed, and he began dating again 5 years down the line, the online world would have celebrated, saying things like he deserves joy. He's endured so much. Look at his journey to recovery. Yet for Vanessa, the expectation is to mourn indefinitely, as if that defines a proper widow. Heaven help her if she seeks comfort in a younger, accomplished man, perhaps reminiscent of her late husband. Instantly, she's labeled a villain, a gold digger, even a betrayer, as one YouTuber harshly expressed. I find it amusing that Kobe Bryant was so iconic that his fans are upset about Vanessa Bryant expecting another child. It's as if she's only permitted to hold on to Kobe's legacy, not to embrace any new joys. Even in humor, the underlying message is unmistakable. Vanessa is not allowed to cherish anything, be it happiness, love, or life, unless it's tied to Kobe. Let's not overlook an essential point. Vanessa was never merely Kobe's spouse. She was his confidant and supporter, indeed. Through his toughest times, like the 2003 assault case that nearly derailed his career, she was there. She raised their daughters, witnessed his resurgence, and then faced the unimaginable task of laying both him and Gianna to rest in the same week. So what did she do? Just weeks following their passing, she took to that memorial stage and gave a eulogy that shattered hearts throughout the arena and among those watching from their homes. "We remain the strongest team. We cherish and long for you, Boo Boo and Cheese. Both of you rest peacefully and have a great time in heaven until we reunite someday. I adore you both and will miss you endlessly, Mom." How can one process that and then conclude she must remain single for life? This situation goes beyond Kobe. It touches on the theme of possession. It's about the supporters who feel entitled to dictate the legacy and the woman who contributed to its creation. Now that Vanessa's path could lead to someone else, they are enraged. However, hold on tight as we explore every aspect of the televised revelations: the bereaved, the myth, and the deceit. What began as a shadowy rumor, indistinct, nameless, and finally unverified, has now evolved into something much darker. The internet's fixation on Vanessa Bryant's private affairs has morphed into a distorted societal benchmark. Yet the focus has shifted away from just Vanessa. No, this is more significant. This revolves around the societal treatment of women who experience the loss of their spouses, particularly when those spouses were revered figures, leaving these women to dwell eternally in their legacies. This connects to race, to the concept of possession, and to a damaging belief system that has persisted for centuries, which insists that a woman's sorrow is worthy only if it is perpetual. Vanessa Bryant, through no fault of her own, has become the most recent woman to be placed on that sacrificial pedestal. Let's begin with the plainly evident. In our eyes, Vanessa handled everything flawlessly. She openly cherished Kobe with passion and grace, embracing both the good and the bad. She nurtured their daughters with love. She faced an unfathomable loss. Just weeks after the tragic accident that took her husband and 13-year-old daughter, she delivered one of the most emotional and poignant tributes we've seen in a long time. I hope my daughters remember the extraordinary man, husband, and father he truly was. He dreamt of guiding future generations, helping them avoid the missteps he made. God understood they belonged together, and so he united them in heaven. Take a moment to reflect on that. She wasn't merely grieving for a man. She was lamenting the loss of half her family. However, she remained upright, elegant, and composed. His passing revived vivid memories for all. It was a misty morning on January 26, 2020. As basketball legend Kobe Bryant boarded a Sikorsky S-76B helicopter alongside his 13-year-old daughter, Gianna, they set off for a youth game at his Mamba Sports Academy in Thousand Oaks, California. Pilot Ora Zobayan was at the helm, accompanied by 8 other passengers, including Coach Christina Mauser, baseball coach John Altobelli with his daughter Alyssa, as well as Sarah and Peyton Chester and Carrie Altobelli. While the helicopter ascended over the San Fernando Valley, it encountered heavy fog, prompting Zobayan to try and rise above the clouds. However, in the thick mist, the aircraft banked left, leading to a tragic series of events within moments. At 9:06 a.m., an aircraft met a tragic fate, crashing into a hill in Calabasas, California, which resulted in a violent explosion of debris and a deep crater. The devastation was immense, and all 9 individuals aboard perished immediately from blunt force injuries. This tragedy reverberated globally, casting a shadow of sorrow over fans, fellow athletes, and celebrities alike. Subsequent investigations indicated that pilot error, probably linked to a loss of spatial awareness in the fog, was a key factor. In the wake of this disaster, a wave of tributes emerged for Kobe and the other victims, honoring their memories and enduring legacies. Kobe's influence, both in basketball and beyond, continues to motivate, yet the loss has created an irreplaceable emptiness, particularly for his family and the community mourning their own losses from that tragic day. However, in 2025, why is she facing scrutiny merely because rumors of dating have surfaced? Let's be candid. There exists a troubling, implied expectation that when someone like Kobe passes, wealthy, adored, and almost legendary, his widow should uphold his legacy, which many interpret as needing to embody a kind of purity, not just in emotions, but in character. She can express sorrow at memorials, engage in charity, weep, or even show happiness occasionally, provided it's with the children or a Lakers event, but she must not be photographed with another man, particularly not a younger one, and certainly never with someone in the same line of work as her late husband. That would cross the ultimate boundary, indicating she has moved beyond her grieving. Out of the blue, she's cast as the villain. Let's revisit the Joe Budden podcast, where this double standard was carefully examined and inadvertently laid bare. To be clear, this is the same cadre of men who, not long ago, insisted they didn't want her to move on in any capacity. So what shifted? We witnessed this same dynamic when Lauren London was heralded for her fidelity to Nipsey, yet faced backlash the instant fans speculated about her possibly sharing a kiss with someone on screen again. It's the identical pattern. Loyalty morphs into a prison, mourning transforms into a commodity, and recovery is branded as treachery. But ponder this. Who truly gains from keeping women entrenched in such sorrow? Is it the fans, the media, the legacy, or perhaps the insecure, possessive facets of society that still regard women, especially widows, as possessions of the men they've lost? Make no mistake, there's a racial undertone to all this. White widows receive magazine covers, movie adaptations, and encouraging stories about reestablishing love. In contrast, Black and Latino women face accusations of being opportunistic, with blogs picking apart their appearances, podcasts scrutinizing them, and comment sections filled with vitriol. Vanessa Bryant wasn't even publicly linked to anyone. She simply existed long enough after Kobe's death for others to speculate she might be moving forward. That alone provoked a tide of insults, moralizing, and resulted in her name trending for all the negative reasons. In that very Joe Budden podcast, they playfully joked about a bizarre set of unspoken rules governing widows and their grief process. Though it was delivered with humor, the underlying message is unmistakable. Your wife, your partner, is yours eternally, even in her absence. Let that send a shiver down your spine. When we discuss legacy, we seldom consider who bears the burden, who endures the weight of societal scrutiny, and who must re-experience their sorrow each time they attempt to find joy again. Vanessa's every action is scrutinized, every getaway, every outfit, and every post analyzed as if it's a political manifesto. Now, even whispers of her possibly seeing a younger, athletic partner are enough to provoke widespread moral outrage online. Why does this happen? It compels us to face the falsehood that grief must be eternal. Genuine grief, true healing. These manifest as laughter returning, as new hope, as fresh beginnings. Perhaps, just perhaps, it also appears as Vanessa Bryant stepping boldly into her next life chapter without apology. Let's get one thing straight. Vanessa is not obligated to feel sorrow for you, nor to be loyal to a memory. She isn't required to live out a narrative that suits your desires. Her true responsibility lies in securing happiness, stability, and love for herself and her daughter. If she's thriving, the actual controversy isn't her progress. It's our attempts to hinder her. Yet, as always, there's more to uncover in this tale. Vanessa's children, Kobe's complexities, and the legacy battle that remains unaddressed. One crucial aspect often overlooked in conversations about Vanessa Bryant's alleged new romance is the presence of her daughters. Natalia, Bianca, and Capri, three young girls facing the daunting challenge of maturing without their dad. While the world scrutinizes their mother, we've devoted countless words to Vanessa's sorrow, public opinion, and her potential to embrace new beginnings. But what are the daughters? Amidst the grandeur of this display, there lingers a harsh and subtle burden imposed on them as well. An expectation to uphold Kobe's legacy that transcends the realm of basketball. Even more unsettling is the implication that they must assume this role in lieu of their mother if she strays from the eternal narrative of the grieving widow. Take Natalia, for instance. At just 21, she has become the unofficial steward of Kobe's public persona. As a style icon, a fixture on red carpets, and an articulate representative at Mamba and Mambacita events, she garners admiration not solely for her identity, but because she embodies a cherished ideal. Kobe's legacy endures through his daughter, which is lovely until it weighs heavily, morphing into another cage of societal demands, similar to the one her mother endures. Truthfully, the public's expectation extended beyond seeing Vanessa as a grieving spouse. They envision her as the head of a legacy, the everlasting queen of the Mamba family. No romances, no controversies, merely glamorous events, charity engagements, and meticulously crafted social media posts that preserve Kobe's memory in a timeless state. When she deviates from this portrayal, even slightly, the response is swift. It transcends who she may be involved with. It suggests she could shift her focus away from Kobe. Here's a harsh reality that many shy away from discussing. Kobe had his flaws. Now revered as a fierce competitor, devoted father, and global legend, his legacy is far from simple. We're considering a man whose most notable path to redemption followed a 2003 incident that was settled privately, a man who confessed to being unfaithful, and whose apology famously included the remark that he thought the encounter was consensual, yet recognized her perspective was different. Despite this, he was able to move on, reinvent himself. He received another chance. So why is Vanessa denied the same? Why are his errors mere footnotes, while her perceived happiness is seen as a betrayal? Don't overlook the fact that Vanessa endured the scandal, the media frenzy, and the gossip. She faced public shame, but rose from it, crafting a marriage that blossomed into a family Kobe often praised. So when we discuss legacy, let's highlight that. Let's acknowledge the resilience it required for Vanessa to remain silent while her husband faced scrutiny, and the even greater resilience it demands now as she faces the same fate. However, she refrains from retaliating, especially in the public eye, fully aware of the greater implications at play. Not solely her tranquility or confidentiality, but the well-being of her children. We must revisit the media's influence here, as it's crucial to understand. The gossip that ignited this upheaval lacked validation from reliable sources. No photographic evidence supported it, yet it proliferated rapidly. For the media, Vanessa represents contentment, and anguish draws profit, but only when it remains neatly packaged. A widow in shades, heart-heavy, is a captivating image for the media. A cheerful Vanessa, thriving 5 years post-tragedy, is spun into a tale of disloyalty. Let's dissect this. When Vanessa dons black, she's honoring her grief. It's a moment that deserves respect. Is it acceptable for Vanessa to take a vacation? When she shares family snapshots, she pays tribute to Kobe. Yet when whispers of her dating arise, it seems like she's moving on. It's a lose-lose situation for her, impacting not just her, but also her daughter's future, which leads us back to the same point. The public is essentially using Kobe Bryant's legacy as a weapon, turning it against the family he entrusted to love and protect. Vanessa is being treated like Natalia will be soon, trapped by an identity she never chose. Make no mistake, the moment she publicly dates or seeks her own identity apart from a Mamba legacy, they'll turn against her as well. Unless we act now, see this toxic cycle, and dismantle it. We must question, who is this legacy intended to serve? If Kobe's legacy isn't rooted in love, family, forgiveness, and second chances, then what is its purpose? What was the point of everything he created? We shouldn't overlook Vanessa's words during her heartfelt tribute at the memorial. Our love story was truly extraordinary. We poured our entire selves into our love for one another. Such deep love doesn't disappear, it transforms. If Vanessa is starting a new phase, even silently, it doesn't undermine Kobe's legacy. Instead, it represents its profound continuation. Love of that nature doesn't conclude abruptly. It endures via recovery, optimism, and life itself, which is precisely what Vanessa aims to embrace. No one has the right to grieve Kobe deeper than the woman who laid him to rest. You can't safeguard his reputation by tarnishing hers, nor dictate when a woman can transition from tears to joy. That's not mourning, that's manipulation. Vanessa Bryant is no longer adhering to your terms. For 5 long years, she's remained largely voiceless. No interviews with Oprah, no revealing autobiography, no responses to online haters, no lucrative Netflix special, and no heartfelt therapy podcast discussions. Just quiet. A quietude that, in numerous respects, has shielded her. Yet now, that very quietude is unraveling her. With her choice to remain mute, the internet has rushed in to fill those gaps with imagination, lies, and untruths. Nothing has exploited that quiet more viciously than the gossip about her being with child by a young dancer, despite her clear rejection of the claim. I'm savoring my summer. I'm not expecting. In essence, I'm tuning out the other speculations. The discussion didn't conclude, it detonated. What's the reason? Vanessa has transformed into an emblem, transcending her identity as a person, a widow, or a mother. She embodies loyalty, dignity in adversity, and the ideal image of a devoted wife post-tragedy. Emblems cannot shift. They must remain static, especially when it comes to women who choose to love again. Therefore, when she opted not to publicly grieve, refrained from expressing anger, and denied the audience their desired display of sorrow, they reacted with hostility, becoming frigid and merciless. This goes beyond mere hatred. It's fundamentally about possession. Many think they possess Kobe's narrative and, consequently, they assume they possess Vanessa's narrative as well. If she attempts to pen new chapters without their consent, they rip those pages away. Yet, there's an aspect nobody is willing to confront. Vanessa's quietude no longer serves as a shield. Instead, it's morphing into a tool that is wielded against her. With her absence from the conversation, only the boisterous, fierce, and often venomous voices resonate. They're actively reshaping her narrative. They're dictating how her sorrow ought to be perceived. They're determining when her devotion runs out. They're determining what type of partner Kobe Bryant merits in remembrance. It's not a partner who could possibly find love anew. It's not a partner who might, heaven forbid, have SD. Again, it's absurd indeed. Yet the humor resonates largely because it stems from genuine emotions. Society anticipates Vanessa to remain in a state of limbo, a mournful figure frozen in the aura of Kobe's memory. When she deviates from this role, she becomes fodder for mockery, or even more disturbingly, an antagonist. Let's delve deeper into this issue. The societal fixation on the grieving process of women. We don't treat men this way. When Liam Neeson experienced the loss of his wife, Natasha Richardson, the press honored his sorrow and later supported his new relationships. Similarly, when Patton Oswalt found love again just 15 months after his wife's passing, he was celebrated for embracing happiness. Yet when women choose to move forward, they face criticism. This concept of public mourning is not a recent phenomenon. It stretches back through the ages. Widows were once obliged to don black clothing for an entire year. During the Victorian era, many adhered to this mourning dress for 2 years or longer. They were also barred from social gatherings until that time elapsed. While we've swapped corsets for online discussions, the societal pressure remains intact. The world expects Vanessa to express her sorrow as if it were a grand opera. Yet there's a catch. Sheath ignores your narrative. Vanessa, however, is not putting on a show. She's navigating her life in her own way, quietly and intimately. That's precisely why the news of her moving forward was so jarring. It felt sudden and broke the fantasy that she remained our grieving widow. Still in mourning for Kobe, still stuck in the year 2020. That's when the backlash began. Once more, even the hint of closeness ignites fury. But what's the reason for this? What is it about Vanessa's prospect of a joyful life that disturbs some? For certain admirers, her sorrow became a source of solace. Her anguish created a bond with Kobe. Her struggle aided them in navigating their own grief. Now, with the possibility of her healing, they sense a void as if she is indebted to them in some way. It feels as if her whole life is dedicated to maintaining their bond with a man she once knew and mourned. This goes beyond selfishness. It borders on the inhumane. And the ultimate truth? Kobe would disapprove of this. All he ever expressed, all his actions throughout his later years, illuminated a single truth. His family was his world. He cherished Vanessa deeply. He battled for their bond when many would have given up. He restored trust, issued heartfelt apologies, and showered her with affection behind closed doors. He was the champion of girl dads. So, consider this. Would he genuinely wish for his daughters to witness society berate their mother for progressing? Would he want them to think that sorrow is a cage, that finding love after loss is off limits, that a woman's devotion is only valued by her length of suffering? Absolutely not. After all, Kobe's true legacy, transcending basketball and the Mamba mentality, was centered on triumphing over adversity and reshaping greatness through personal evolution. So what is Vanessa up to these days? She's quietly blossoming. This, more than anything, unsettles those around her. It's not that they fear she may find love again. It's that she's doing it on her own terms, without seeking approval. Thank you for tuning in. Explore the other options displayed on your screen.